Welcome students. In this video we will discuss about quality of population. See, quality of population, as I told in the previous video, that human capital is actually it refers to the population in terms of their productive potentials. So the quality of population is ultimately guided towards the same. The quality of population can be maintained or improved from the present condition by bringing about improvement in the literacy rate, the life expectancy, that refers to the health of a person, or that is indicated by the health of the person, as well as the skill formation which is acquired by the people or population of the country. And by people or population it includes the working population. Now, how this quality of population is to be maintained and how it is made possible. So for this we have to see the role of education. We can't neglect education when it comes to quality of population, as the role of education is mainly important, because the education, it contributes towards the growth of society. The society grows, the national income gets enhanced, or it brings about enhancement in national income. It's not increase, it is enhancement. Means the income is increased, the income levels increases, but positively. There are other ways for creating money, but enhancement includes the increase in the national income in a positive manner. That is, the people, they are not involved in any illegal activities, they are involved in the legal as well as activities which are beneficial for society and will be guided towards the development of society. So education, along with this, it brings about cultural richness and increases the efficient governance. Now, the role of education is very important. From this discussion it can be concluded. So by taking view of this importance of education, the contribution towards educational expenditure has increased. In the year 1951-52, it was just a mere 0.64% of the entire GDP, which was rose to 3.98% in the year 2002 and 3, and now the expenditure on GDP has crossed 3% mark. In fact, it is 4%, which comes to around 10,800 crores of rupees of the total GDP earned by the economy. The literacy is uneven. When we see the pattern of literacy rate in India, it is uneven between males and females, and in between the different states. The different states, they have different literacy rates. When it comes to the differences, we can see in the urban areas and in the rural areas also, the difference between the literacy rate among the boys and girls is quite high. Overall, when we talk about the entire country, it is 16.6% greater in males as compared to females, and this ratio even becomes greater when it comes to rural areas. Also, to cope up with this and to provide better and more educational facilities, new schools have been introduced the pace setting schools like Navodaya Vidyalaya, they have been established, but the problem is still persisting because of the high dropout rate, that is the students who leave the school before completion of their basic studies. For this, various programs and the abhiyans, they have been launched by government and they have been promoted, like the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, that promoted the number of students attending the school, but due to the high dropout rate, later on the midday meal program was launched by the central government to provide nutritious food and to provide nourishment to the school going children, and it was especially designed so that the children belonging to poor families, they can come and study in the school along with the meals, because they were not able, their families are so poor that they were not able to get the meals twice a day even. So this Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan was a significant step towards the elementary education to all the children who are falling in the category of the below 14 years age. Then right to education was made a fundamental right in order to provide access to every child for middle education or basic education. Now we have health facilities. Health is another very important component of human resource development. Effective health or efficient, if a person is healthy and he will be efficient, so the efficiency of workers, it largely depends upon their health. When we see the health standard of the country, the health standard of the country has improved so widely, and since independence, like the life expectancy rate at the time of birth, it rose from 37.2, which was 37.2 in 1951, and it became 63.9 in year 2001, and now it is somewhere around 70%. IMR, that is infant mortality rate, which was around 147 in the decades of 1950s. Now this IMR has come down to 47 by 2010, and still nowadays, that is after another 10 years, that is in 2020, the IMR is still below 47. It is somewhere around 36 to 38 on an average. The IMR is actually calculated as the number of death of children below 1 year age, that is infants. It basically includes the infant. So the number of children or the number of infants below 1 year of age divided by total number of death into 100. This gives us the IMR, that is infant mortality rate. When we talk about health facilities, several rates we should know, like the IMR I just told, the birth rate, the number of babies which are born divided by per 1,000 people during that particular period of time for which the birth rate is calculated. Then we have the death rate, the number of people per 1,000 people who die during a particular period, that is the number of people who died divided by the 1,000 will give you the death rate. So it is the IMR, that is infant mortality rate, the death rate and the birth rates. These three rates are very important when it comes to determining the standard of health services prevailing in the country. Then we have, like we talked about the national income, we have GNP, that is gross national product. The estimated value of all the goods and services which are produced by the normal resident, that is person who is normal and who is normally living in that particular country, and all activities, whatever economic activities the person is performing, they are beneficial for that particular economy in which he is living. Also, he should be staying in that economy for a period of more than 1 year continuously. Then the whatever expenditures or whatever incomes generated by such people are included in the national income, and that is what gross national product is meant. Then we have, when we see the states, state wise also we have differences in the health infrastructure. States like Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, they have large number of medical colleges. Out of total 181 medical colleges in India, these 4 states, they alone account for 81 medical colleges. Also, the IMR, which I told, it has come down from 147 in 1951 to 34 in 2016, and the crude birth rate, that is CBR, has also dropped to 20, and the death rates have dropped to 6.4. This crude birth rate is the number of living births divided by 1000. For a particular geographical area, the crude birth rate, that is CBR, is calculated, and then the developmental status of that particular area can be estimated roughly. Now we have unemployment. We have seen so far the human population, how it can be converted into human resource by making use of human capital investment. Then we have discussed the quality of population. In that we have discussed about health and education. Now we will discuss about unemployment. Unemployment is a condition that prevails in an economy when a person who is willing to work at the prevailing wage rate, but he is not getting work. Secondly, if a person is employed but he is not working as per his potential in terms of his qualification, he is not getting a proper job that suits or matches with his qualification or her qualification, then also it's a sort of unemployment. So unemployment is a phenomenon. It's a condition, but it's a phenomenal condition. That's why the countries, they often face problem in complete eradication of unemployment, and it is basically due to poor resource in terms of unproductive or low potential population. So it is very important to provide better health and education facilities to population to make them efficient enough, so that instead of population they can be regarded as an asset and can be termed as a human capital or human resource. So what is unemployment? It is a liability to the nation. It leads to wastage of manpower resources. When we talk about the unemployed people, we are actually referring to the people who are falling in the age group of working population, that is people belonging to the age group of 15 to 59 years. So children below 15 years of age and people above 60 years of age, they are not considered, while we count the number of unemployed people because they are not part of working population. Now we will see the nature of unemployment in India. In India, two major types of unemployment are found, that is seasonal unemployment and disguised unemployment. Seasonal unemployment, as the name suggests, it occurs when people fail to get work during some months of the year, and sometimes it is regarded as the off season. So when the season is off, the people, they become unemployed, especially the farm laborers and those who are working in wool industry. Also, when we see in this seasonal unemployment, people, they are not able to find jobs during some months of year, or you can say this seasonal unemployment is it's not a regular unemployment, it is for a few months or for a particular season that the people are jobless. Then we have disguised unemployment. It happens when people appear to be employed, and it is most common in rural areas where most of the people, they are engaged in agriculture. So disguised unemployment is more prominent in agricultural sector. What does this mean? What happens when we see, according to the requirement of the job, when more persons are employed to do the same job than what was actually required, this condition is called disguised unemployment. This kind of problem arises due to excessive population pressure on agriculture. Agriculture, instead of subsistence, has become commercial, and it is agriculture on which a large population depends to be fed. So this excessive pressure of feeding a large population on agriculture makes more people to get employed or to get involved in the agriculture, and this creates disguised unemployment. Increase in unemployment is an indicator of depression in the economy, or you can say it's the indicator of a depressed economy. Now, consequences of unemployment. See, unemployment leads to wastage of manpower. The human resource, instead of becoming an asset, it becomes a burden on the economy and a liability for the economy. The unemployment increases the economic overload, that is the dependency of the unemployed people on the working population, the people who are actually working, and this unemployment may lead to increase in social unrest and tension also. That's all we have. The chapter is concluded. Thank you. Have a nice day.